So welcome to those of you that weathered the slightly cold weather for Texas and joined us live. Got a big audience online as well, so hello to everybody online. And welcome to the Texas REIAs. The Texas REIAs is the largest by far network of real estate investor associations and real estate investors in the great state of Texas, with over 150,000 members, participants, and attendees going all the way back to 2003. So why does that matter, and why do you even care? Well, you know, the reason you should care is because they say if you have even the very slightest interest in real estate, the very first thing to do is to join your local real estate investor association. The reason is because real estate is local. Laws are local, contracts are local, contractors are local, buyers, sellers, houses, everything about real estate is local. There's 30,000 YouTube videos that talk about how to invest in real estate. They all talk about how to do it anywhere. Well, how to do it anywhere is how to do it at 30,000 feet. Real estate is not bought and sold at 30,000 feet. Real estate is bought and sold at 0 feet. So if you want to know what laws apply here and which contracts to use here and what strategies work here and exactly which neighborhoods to invest in here and exactly which houses to buy and which houses to not buy here, where do you get all that? And the answer is you get that at your local real estate investor association. And my job is to make you all into educated and contributing members of this community. People in other states have no freaking idea how things work here. Exactly which neighborhoods are buying and selling and doing what here, what the market looks like here, what the laws are here. You get that at your local real estate investor association. So we are live. Welcome to you guys live, and we are also broadcasting online. So hello to you guys online. If you are on GoToWebinar, you are live. On the other hand, if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or Instagram, you may or may not be live, but you're welcome to join us at any of our upcoming live events by simply going to our website, flipping.com/events, because we have live events multiple times every single week. All right. So I'm going to start this presentation by answering a question that a lot of people ask, and that is, what's the best way to get started? I'm sure you're all here for your own reasons. You all have different levels of experience. Some of you are brand new. Some of you are already doing this.
Can you make me a host?
I cannot.
Or a co-host?
No, I can't. You're going to have to ask Thomas or somebody. Hey guys, I'm going to have to mute you guys online.
Or from the waiting room?
Forgive me, guys. Hold on a second.
Hold on a second.
I'm hearing them on the speaker. We're broadcasting online, so I'm going to turn the volume way down, so hopefully I don't hear them anymore. Yeah, but it's okay. I'm just going to mute you guys online so that I don't hear online. So hold on just a second. All right. So let's answer the question where to get started, because you're all different, and I'm going to answer the question, what's the best place to get started for any of you and all of you? So there's a lot of ways, obviously, you can invest in real estate. You can do commercial, you can do residential, you can do active, you can do passive. Which one is the right one? They're all great. I love them all, I do them all. I have 21 years of experience in all of those things. So which one is the best one to do? Well, it really depends on you and kind of why you're here. So for example, if you're here because you want to quit your job, supplement your income, create a side hustle, if your biggest priority is you want to make an extra $100,000 in the next 12 months doing something real estate related, if that's why you're here, I'm going to say you need to flip houses. The fastest way to make pretty significant money is to flip houses. We use a dozen different strategies to flip houses. Most of them require little or no money. And I'm going to tell you guys, whether you have money or not, it really doesn't matter because you don't have enough anyway. I don't have enough money. Elon Musk does not have enough money to be a real estate investor. A very common misunderstanding is, oh, you need money to be a real estate investor. It's almost useless. You got $500,000 in your checking account? Great, good for you, go buy a house. Okay, now you're done. Yep, that was it. Can't buy another house until you sell that house. No, in real estate, you have to be prepared to buy any property at any price at any time, right? It doesn't matter what price, what time, because the deal that could change your life could show up tomorrow. So you have to be ready for anything, right? So we use other people's money. For example, in this network, we have over 1,000 private money lenders. Private money is faster, cheaper, better, right? If you have private money, you have all the money you ever needed, and you can get it in a day, right? It's very fast, easy, and that's how we buy properties, because you need to be able to buy properties in a day, because the very best deals, they can just pop up and be there just for a day. So, and then we also have about 9 different strategies that we use that allow you to buy houses even with little or no money. So if your goal is you want to replace your income, create a side hustle, maybe quit your job, do something real estate related that's going to make you 6 figures in the next 12 months, I'm going to tell you, you should be flipping houses. Now, that being said, if you say, but that's not why I'm here, what I'm really here is to build wealth. I like my job. I'm not so much worried about income in the short term. I'm really looking for long-term wealth, right? I want to be wealthy or as wealthy as possible in my future. If that's why you're here, I'm going to tell you, you should be buying rental properties. I'm a big proponent of buying rental properties. My wife and I own $30 million worth of properties, mostly in Austin, all in Texas. And we've been buying them for 21 years. And fortunately, you know, over the last 21 years, they've doubled and doubled and doubled in price and value, and the tenants have paid off the mortgages, which is really fantastic. I now owe less than $5 million total debt on that portfolio. I'm just so glad that I did that, right? I mean, if I could go back and do anything more, I would have bought more. That's my biggest regret. I wish I had bought more. Now, I'm going to tell you, let's get a little audience interaction here. I just want to get your input on things. What do you think of the real estate market right now? Let's get your opinion on that. Like, who thinks houses are kind of expensive right now? Who thinks houses are kind of expensive right now? Who thinks houses are kind of cheap right now? Okay, so this is like everybody should participate, because it's just an opinion, and there's no right or wrong answer. So you can't answer this question wrong. So I'll try this again. Who thinks houses are kind of expensive right now? Raise your hand and think they're kind of expensive right now. Who thinks houses are kind of cheap right now? Okay, I think you guys are not following the instructions here. You get A or B, and it's just your opinion, so it can't be wrong. Do you think houses are cheap or expensive?
I think it's at the same price.
Okay, what do you think?
Cheaper than it was.
Cheaper than it was?
Yeah.
Cheaper than it was when?
Like after COVID, when market hit too high,
Yeah.
then the price dropped down, right?
Yeah, they're down about 2%. Yeah, that's true.
Something like that, maybe
Yeah,
from the
about
interest rate.
2%. Yeah. How about you? Think they're expensive
Well,
or
it
cheap?
depends, you know. I mean, what perspective you look on, like the market. If you look at from the buyer's perspective, it might be like, you know, expensive.
Okay, well, that's fair. Those are all fair answers. I think those are fair answers. So I'll share my opinion. It's just an opinion. I think houses are cheap, like freaking crazy cheap. Like, I was looking at the prices recently. I almost fell off my chair because I couldn't believe just how cheap the houses were. And so that's just an opinion. That's just my opinion. But don't listen to me. I want you to ask somebody that you trust. Somebody, in fact, I want you to ask the person that I'm pretty sure that you trust more than anybody else in the universe. I want you to ask their opinion of what they think about house prices right now. So who should you ask? Okay, I want you to ask future you. Okay, I want you to ask yourself 20 years in the future, what do you think of house prices back in 2025? And I'm going to tell you what they're going to tell you. They're going to say, oh my God, do you realize you could have bought a house like in Central Texas for less than $3 million? Holy cow, you should have bought them all. Yeah, when I started buying rental properties 21 years ago, I paid ridiculous prices for them. I bought some houses, you know, most of my houses are in downtown Austin, and I paid ridiculous prices because the market was very high at that time. Some of them I paid like $125,000 for, some I paid like $150,000. I think I paid, I don't know, like $175,000. I know it's crazy to think like a downtown Austin house for $175,000. I know it's hard to believe, but yeah, I was crazy and their prices were just crazy. Of course, right now I'm selling these things for $750,000, $850,000, one for $1.2 million. Okay, so here's something I've recognized being in this real estate game for 21 years. Every time anybody ever shows up at a REIA meeting, they always say the same thing, unless they're in the business for a long time. Houses are expensive, right? 20 years ago, I thought houses were expensive. 10 years ago, I thought houses were expensive. Right now, I think houses are expensive. People always think they're expensive because they're always comparing it to the good old days, what they used to be. You know, when I got started investing in Austin real estate, you know, before I got started, you know, you could buy houses in East Austin for about $15,000 a piece over by the old airport, Mueller Airport. That's what houses were going for over there, about $15,000 a piece. You know, I could have bought entire blocks. I wish I did. I should have. You know, didn't know. I just didn't know. So my point is, whatever houses are today compared to 20 years ago, 20 years from now, the prices today are going to be exactly the same difference, right, in terms of ratio. So buy rental properties. That's, I guess, my takeaway advice from all that. So when's the best time to plant a tree? Anybody know when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. Okay, when's the second best time to plant a tree? That would be today. That would be like now, So you're planting trees right now that you will harvest in 20 years. So I suggest you plant a lot. And if that's your goal, if you're here to build wealth, man, I don't know a better way to do that than just buy rental properties. You know, I buy rental properties, I take the keys, I hand it to a property manager, and I say, call me in 20 years, because I don't want anything to do with them. Don't tell me who lives in them, don't tell me anything about them, just give me the key, you know, just hand it, you know, call me in 20 years. Call me if something major happens, in the meantime, call me in 20 years. And that's my philosophy with rental properties. And my biggest regret, I wish I bought them all. I wish I bought more. Now, that being said, if you're saying, well, that's still not why I'm here, I am not here to build wealth. I want to make money with my money. If you're here because you already have a pile of money and you want to make money with your money and you want to do something maybe better than the stock market, well, if that's why you're here, I'm going to tell you, you should be investing in commercial syndications. Okay, commercial syndications, private equity. Wealthy people do not invest in the stock market. I'm sorry. Wealthy people invest in private equity. What is private equity? These are not publicly traded investments. These are privately traded investments. Why do they do that? Because on average, they have twice the return of the stock market and half the risk. So if you knew there was something you could do with your IRA that gets you twice the return and half the risk, you're never going back to the stock market. So I haven't invested in the stock market in over 20 years because I invest in private equity, mostly commercial syndications. And then finally, if you say, but that's still not it, that's not why I'm here because I want to do the big money deals. I don't want to make 6 figures a year, I want to make 7 figures a year. I want to make $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million. That's why I'm here. If that's why you're here, you should be sponsoring commercial syndications. That's what you should be doing. You should be sponsoring commercial syndications. That's the biggest money. Now, that being said, it is big money, but it is not fast money. Okay, typical commercial syndication is a 5-year deal. Commercial deals are typically 5 years. You buy them, hold them for 4 years, 5 years, and sell them. So yeah, you can make 7 figures more, but it's not going to be fast money. It's going to be big money, but it's not going to be fast money. Now, if every year you're starting some commercial syndications and you build up a pipeline of these things, you know, after 5 years, you're making millions of dollars a year. But those are the 4 quadrants, right? Now, most people, they start flipping houses because usually they want to make some money fast and they want to supplement their income. They want to kind of dip their toe in the water and get started. And then they keep some of them along their journey as rental properties. And then when they have more money than they need to pay their bills and they want to make money with their extra money, they start putting into commercial syndications. You put 50 in, you get 100 back. You put 100 in, you get 200 back. But then you realize, yeah, it's cool, you know, to invest 100 and get 200, but the guy you invested the 100 with, he's making $1 million plus. So you're going to want to be that guy, right? Ultimately, you're going to want to be that guy and sponsor the commercial syndications. So we love them all. We do them all. Flipping.com and Texas REIAs offers training support, resources, money, power teams, et cetera, for all of these different things. I love them all. I do them all. And we'll do a quick poll of the audience, and there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious. Do a poll of the audience. How many of you are here mostly because you'd like to supplement your income? Who wants to make 6 figures in the next 12 months? Who wants to supplement their income, maybe make an extra 6 figures in the next month? Okay, great. How many of you are here mostly because you just want to build your wealth? Mostly just to build some wealth? Okay, that's great. How many of you are here because you really want to make money with your money? Who's here because they want to make money with their money? Okay, something better than the stock market. How many of you are here for the commercial? Who's here just to do the commercial syndications? Okay, you like them all. That's cool. I do too. So there's no problem with that. So we are doing a commercial REIA meeting at around 7 o'clock, but we'll give you a little preview of that right now. In fact, if you're specifically interested in commercial, you might want to take a little snapshot of this QR code. We pop up these little QR codes. This is not going to ask for your name or information. When you take a picture of that, it just sends a text message from your phone, and then we can send a text back to you with some resources for commercial training and commercial resources. So if you're interested in commercial, take a quick picture of that, and you'll get plugged into the commercial resources here at the REIA. But most of you kind of rose your hands for kind of quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. So we're going to get started with quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. And good news, there's a lot of ways you can do that. In fact, we're going to teach you about a dozen different strategies or mechanisms that you can use to make money, in that quadrant 1, quadrant 2, to generate income and to build wealth. So welcome again to the REIA. I'm Phil Grove. You saw my little video earlier, so I don't probably need to introduce myself, but I've been a real estate investor for 21 years, been involved in over 1,200 deals. I own a lot of rental properties. I've made a lot of money, and I've taught a lot of people, over 100,000 Texans, how to invest in Texas. I may have the title of teaching more Texans how to invest in Texas than any other Texan. I don't know anybody else that's ever taught 100,000 Texans. Right? I'm sure there's a lot of people who have taught 100,000 people, but I've actually taught 100,000 Texans. So I may be the top Texas teacher of real estate. And that just goes with being part of this big network. These are some of the deals that made me money. I don't have time to go through them all, but I do approximately a real estate transaction a week in some shape, form, variety, or another. And what that does is it creates what we call money in big chunks. Now that sounds really good, right? Money in big chunks, but I'm not here to sound good. I'm really here to teach you. The way this business works is as follows. We do things to find people with problems, and here's the really beautiful part. For every problem or situation that exists, we have a solution, a strategy that helps people. This is about helping people, solves their problem, their need, and gets us paid. Sometimes we get singles, sometimes we get doubles, and sometimes we get home runs. So I'll give you some examples. I found somebody facing foreclosure, big problem, and I gave them an alternative to a foreclosure, a short sale, that allowed them to sell their house without destroying their life and their credit, and I made $16,000 helping somebody solve a problem. REO stands for Real Estate Owned, Bank-Owned Properties. Banks don't want to own property, so I took it off the bank's hands, and I flipped it, made $36,000. A guy had a legal problem, had to sell a house by Friday. A realtor cannot sell a house by Friday. I can. Made $5,000. Got a property subject to my specialty, no money, no credit, flipped it, made $68,000, $5,600 on a little assignment deal, $6,000 on a mortgage assignment, $10,000 on a wholesale, $2,800 on a small referral, $12,400 on a larger referral. The way this business works is as follows. We do things to get people with problems to call us, and the really beautiful part is for every situation that exists, for every problem that exists, for every homeowner that exists, we have a solution, a strategy that helps them. It's about helping people, solves their problem, their need, and gets us paid. We can help motivated sellers and non-motivated sellers. We can help people that own their houses free and clear. We can help people that are hopelessly underwater, that owe more money than the house is worth. We can help them solve their problem, their need, and get ourselves paid. Sometimes we get singles, sometimes we get doubles, sometimes we get home runs. Sometimes I work on a lead, a deal, an opportunity, a problem, for 6 months, and after 6 months I make $5,000. And I'm like, oh man, 6 months for $5,000. I could have made more money working at Walmart. So thank goodness I'm not working on just one lead at a time. Sometimes my phone rings and that phone call makes me $55,000 in 48 hours. And I'm like, oh man, I wish every time my phone rang, I made $55,000 in 48 hours. But that's not how this business works either. That's maybe 1 in 100 phone calls. So the question to ask is, how often do you get 100 phone calls? Well, that kind of depends on you and how much marketing that you do. You get 100 phone calls every week? Do you get 100 phone calls every month? Do you get 100 phone calls every year? You can control that. It depends on how many deals that you look at. So there's 2 essential skills to learn to be a real estate investor. The first and foremost skill is marketing. So marketing is just finding the deal, generating the lead. A lead is just a name and number of somebody that might want to sell real estate. So you need to spend 85% of your time and money on marketing, looking for the deal, right? Generating the lead. The next skill we have to learn is strategy. Strategy is doing the deal, solving the problem. We buy houses, we help people sell houses, get rid of houses, mortgages they don't want, can't afford. We do it in a variety of different ways that solves a variety of different problems. So marketing and strategy, finding deals, doing deals, finding problems, solving problems. We use 65 different methods to find off-market, because that's what we buy, off-market wholesale real estate. We use a dozen different strategies to help people solve their problems and get ourselves paid. Over half of the marketing methods, by the way, are completely free. And 9 of the 12 investing strategies are actually no money and no credit strategies. And when you learn how to buy houses with no money and with no credit, then how many houses can you buy? All of them. How many would you like to buy? All of them. So when I throw out a question, if you shout back all of them, you're probably going to get the question right, just so you know. Okay, so marketing and strategy, finding deals, doing deals, finding problems, solving problems. Let us get started by showing you the marketing. How do you find the deals? Actually, though, first let me tell you a quick story. This is my first big deal. This was actually the very first property that I flipped on December 15, 2003. But I'll tell you a little other story. On December 14th, 2003, I was scared to death. I was actually being coached and mentored by 2 guys that ran the REIA back then. I called them both on the phone on December 14, 2003. I'm scared, I don't want to lose any money. Are you guys sure this is going to work? Yeah, it took 2 seasoned, experienced real estate investors kicking me, pulling me, kicking and screaming over the starting blocks to get me to do my very first deal. So if you're scared, I get it, I can relate, and I can help. But I had one other thing that was actually also motivating me to move forward way back then. I was in a job I no longer loved, and I was in a career that I no longer loved. And I got to tell you, if you're spending your time doing something you don't love doing, you need to do something different with your life plan. And that's exactly where I was on December 15, 2003. I needed a different life. And I got to tell you, you get one life, and it just races by. It just races by. My wife and I recently had a baby boy. And I noticed this last weekend, there was a 15-year-old running around in my house, and he wants a car. And it's like, what happened? I remember feeding him a few times, now he's taller than me, and he wants a car for his birthday. And it's like, what happened? 15 years, it's a blur. It's like, and that's how life works, right? It's just races by. And if you're not on a trajectory to getting the life that you want, maybe now is a good time to change the trajectory. We just had a new year, didn't we? Most people have New Year's resolutions to go with their new year. You know, the biggest 2 New Year's resolutions, what are they? What do you think? Lose weight, make money. Yeah. Lose weight, make money. I can't help you with weight. I can help you with money. And then they go on these journeys trying to figure out, like, how do you make money? They look at all the different things, and eventually they figure out real estate. And then they show up at a meeting like this, right? But then you got to take action, right? You got to actually do something. So, tell you a little bit more about that very first deal. You know, your very first deal is your most important deal. It's kind of like your most, it's the most important deal. It's kind of like your first kiss, right? It's a life-changing experience. Everybody remembers their first kiss. Everybody remembers their first deal. So I'll tell you about mine. It took me 6 months to find my first deal. I was actually kind of a slow starter. Got it under contract with a contract I got right here at the REIA. Bought it using OPM, other people's money, private money lender. There's 1,000 of them here at the REIA. Got a contractor here at the REIA to fix it. Got a realtor here at the REIA to sell it. Got a private money lender, I'm sorry, an attorney and title company here at the REIA to close it. And I went to that very first closing and picked up that very first check, $15,384.26. So you know when they handed me that check, it was like you unscrewed the cap, popped out the old brain, popped in the new brain. Because right up until the moment that they handed me that check, I was a real estate investor based on theory. And I wasn't even sure I believed the theory. I don't know about this, not sure about that, don't know about this. But the second they handed me that check, like a switch flipping, I didn't know anything different except I knew it actually worked. In other words, like a switch flipping, I became a real estate investor based on experience. And I realized when they handed me that check is if I did this and this and this again, I get another check. Worked the first time, and if I did this and this again, I get another check. And if I did this and this again, I get another check. But the really big deal that I noticed when they handed me that check, I realized at that moment that I would never, ever, 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 for the rest of my life, ever, have to work for somebody else. Ever, 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 never, ever again. And I have not worked for anybody else, you know, for 21 years since they handed me that very first check. My resume is in some form of DOS that even the highest tech IT guy could not resurrect from a computer. And if you're like, what's DOS? Ask somebody in the room that has gray hair and they'll try to explain it to you. But no, yeah, I haven't worked for somebody in 21 years. There's no amount of money that somebody could pay me to go back and work for somebody else. So the point is, if you're new and you're just getting started, here's my advice. You need to focus like a laser beam on your very first deal. Because the first deal will change your life. Deals 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 combined, not as hard as deal number 1. So I told you I was going to tell you what I did right. I'm also going to tell you what I did wrong. Because I did make one big mistake right out of the chute. I spent all that time looking for the deal. I finally found the deal. When I found the deal, I kind of put my marketing on hold. I picked up some hammers. I managed some contractors. I worked on the deal. I finished the deal, only to wake up the next day and realize I had absolutely nothing to do. Well, except start the whole business all over again. And this gets me to my very first takeaway for my presentation. And here it is, and this is the big one. The business of being a real estate investor is the business of finding deals. It's all about finding deals. Why? Because you make your money on the buy. What does that mean? As soon as you find a property and get it under contract, whatever money was going to be made or not made, it's done. Right at that moment. Yeah, you get the money at the end on the sell, but you make the money on the buy. And once you understand that, you should understand that you always need to spend 85% of your time and effort on marketing, looking for the next deal, because your next deal is always more important than the deal you have now. The rookies all screw this up. Rookie mistake number 1. They finally get enough marketing. They finally find a deal. As soon as they find a deal, they put the marketing on hold. They picked up a hammer. They manage the project. They work on the deal. And when the deal's done, there's not another deal. So then they put the hammer away and they start the marketing and they finally get enough marketing going that they finally find another deal. And while they're working on that deal, they're not looking for the next deal. And their income goes up and down and up and down and up and down. You need your income to go up, 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 up. And the only way to get it to go up, 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 up is you always have to spend 85% of your time and money looking for the next deal. Because the next deal is always more important than the deal you have now. And hint, the deals you're looking for are not in the MLS. The MLS is the multiple listing service. It's the retail market for real estate. It's where realtors sell real estate. It's where all the people in the world compete with each other to see who will pay the most. And I hate to say it, but when you're competing against all the people in the world, some of those people are stupid. And you don't want to compete against stupid. Well, you don't want to win competing against stupid. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. I love the MLS. I adore the MLS. Why do I love and adore the MLS? Because after I buy off-market wholesale real estate, where do I want to go to resell it? Where do you think? On the MLS. It's been proven, right, that that's where properties sell for the most they could possibly be sold for. But that's never where you're going to find heavily discounted wholesale real estate. The very best deal in the entire MLS would rarely be a deal that a real estate investor would take a second look at. So, finding deals. Once I realized this whole shoot and match is really about finding deals, well, then I started to systematize the process of finding deals. And over time, I developed 65 different methods to find deals. Actually, that's not totally accurate to say I developed 65 methods. What would be more accurate is just say I found 65 things that work for finding off-market deals, and I started to do those things. In fact, you know, I need to teach you a very important lesson, maybe the most important lesson that I'm going to teach you today. But for me to teach you this next lesson, first I need to unteach you all something. So I need to unteach you all something. When you guys were in elementary school, if you looked over the paper next to you and you copied down the answers, that was called what? What'd they call that? Cheating. And you're all told that cheating is what? Cheating is what? Bad, wrong? Okay, guys, we're not in elementary school anymore. We're not a bunch of little kids anymore. Going forward, I need you all to unlearn that. Because going forward, guess what? Cheating is actually the shortcut. Okay, what am I saying up here? There's nothing that you're trying to do. There's absolutely nothing that you're trying to figure out that I and other people haven't already done and figured out. Everything, and I mean everything, and I mean absolutely everything about this business is completely figured out. We know what's in the soil. We know the zoning. I know the guys that write the zoning. We know the exact letters to send to the exact marketing lists. We know the exact words to say. We know the exact offers to make. We know exactly what objections we're going to have. We know exactly how to overcome the objections. We even know on average how many contracts that we are going to get signed for every 20,000 postcards we send out. Everything, and I mean everything, and I mean absolutely everything about this business is completely understood. So once I realized everything I was trying to do and everything I was trying to figure out, other people had done and figured out, I stopped trying to figure everything out and I just started to, here's this word, copy, right? Copy the top 65 tested, proven methods of finding deals. Now, some of these methods take time and some of these methods take money. When you get started, you're going to have more time and less money. Once you get going, you're going to have more money and less time. I will be honest with you, I don't spend any time at all anymore on marketing. I outsource 100%. But when I got started, I was insourcing more. So what are all these different marketing methods? Well, let me teach you a whole bunch. First set of strategies has to do with direct mail or marketing lists. You can buy marketing lists. These are lists of motivated sellers. What do you do with these lists? Well, you can send them letters and or postcards, or you can call them, or you can text them, or you can use a system to drop a voicemail into their voicemail box even without calling them, or you can knock on their door, or you can do what I do because I don't have time to call 20,000 people, so I use an AI-powered chatbot to call 27,000 people for me and then schedule appointments with the ones that actually want offers. Or you can do a combination of those things, which is called a multi-touch campaign. So what are some of the popular marketing lists? Well, you can get a list of people that didn't pay their property taxes, people that are late paying their mortgage, 30, 60, 90 days late paying their mortgage. You can get a list of people who are scheduled for foreclosure. You can get a list of people that have filed for divorce. Two people were combining their income, right, to pay a mortgage. Now one of them's gone. Well, the one that's left is probably having trouble paying the mortgage by themselves. That could be a motivated seller. You can get a list of people who have inherited a house from somebody who passed away. You can get a list of somebody who inherited a house where somebody that passed away that didn't have a will. You can get a list generated by artificial intelligence because it looks at big data and predicts who's in trouble and who's not. You get a list of people that have been dismissed from bankruptcy. You can get a non-owner occupied list. This is a list of people that own a house that they don't live in the house they own. Well, technically those are landlords. And a lot of them are accidental landlords. They couldn't sell a house, so they rented it out. Or they let an ex-spouse or family member or friend stay in a house, or they inherited a house with a tenant. They didn't really plan on being a landlord. They don't really know how to be a landlord, and very often they become motivated sellers. You can get a list of people who rent to people on public assistance. You can get a code enforcement list. You know, the city's already driving around issuing citations for abandoned houses, hoarder houses, deferred maintenance houses. Do you know you can get the city to give you a list of every problem property in the city? You can even get an expired listing list. This is a list of people that hired a realtor, tried for a long time to sell the house, and it didn't sell. So what do we know about these people? 100% of these people would like to sell their house, probably now more than ever, but they probably need solutions that realtors don't offer. Well, hello, that's exactly what investors do offer. So if you send letters and postcards, door knocks, if you have your AI assistant, you send text messages, whatever to these people that have problems, some of them will call you back. Those are called leads. If you make them an offer that solves their problem, we have an offer for every different kind of problem there is. Some of them say yes, and those are called deals. If you're looking for a list, there's a place you can get lists. This is a company called ProList, and they have all these different lists for all the major cities in Texas. Now, when you take pictures of these little QR codes, it just sends a text from your phone to the system, and then the system can text you back with some links and resources. So if you're looking for motivated sellers, there's where you get motivated sellers. All right, what are some of the other ways to find motivated sellers? Well, we got website, you can get leads on the internet, bandage signs, little plastic signs on the side of the road. We buy houses. Why do you see those signs? Because they work. Online ads work. Email autoresponders, those work. Magnetic signs will sign the side of your car. You buy the sign once, you get leads for the rest of your life. Okay, you don't want to pay postage for 10 cents a door. You can have somebody put your flyer on every door in a neighborhood. Here's one that's pretty much free. Driving for dollars. I think everybody should do this. It's just driving around. Looking for what? Abandoned houses, hoarder houses, deferred maintenance houses. There's thousands of them all over the place, right? Why would somebody abandon a house? There's as many different reasons as people as stories as houses, you know, or deferred maintenance. Sometimes I'm just driving around and I see a tarp on a roof. They might as well be waving a big red flag. Desperate motivated seller, please buy my house. I mean, think about it. Somebody's most valuable asset, okay, a house, has a serious problem, okay, a leak, and their solution was to find a $5 tarp at Home Depot. How come they didn't fix the roof? Why do you think they didn't fix the roof? What do you think, guys? Why do you think they didn't fix the roof if they have a leaky roof? What do you think? Yeah, no money. Same guy that's fixing the roof, is not paying his mortgage, probably not paying his insurance. Sooner or later, an investor is going to pick up that deal. All right, what are the other marketing methods? Oh, wait. So what are the other marketing strategies? Letters of intent. This is another cool thing you can do. What is a letter of intent? A letter of intent is an offer. Okay, well then who should you send an offer to? And the answer is everybody. So I'm going to give you all your first homework assignment. Tomorrow, I want each of you to send 300 people an offer on their home. I'm not kidding. You see, this is how investors think. Ready, fire, aim. You make the offer, and then you negotiate. You make the offer, and then you look for the money. You make the offer, and then you do your due diligence. You make the offer, and then, and only then, do you think about it. You should make everybody an offer. Why not? Do you know here in Texas, every time you simply make somebody an offer, you know you got 4 different options? You might want to write them down. Option number 1, you can buy a house. Because they might say yes. If you take 200 shots on goal, what do you think is going to happen? Something's going in. Even if you suck. And with practice, what do you think is going to happen? With practice, more than one is going to go in, because with practice, you don't suck anymore. So yeah, just make everyone an offer. Somebody's going to say yes. All right, option number 2, you can terminate the offer after you make it. Do you know the Texas state promulgated contract gives the buyer the unilateral right to just rip it up, no harm, no foul, no risk, no penalty? Option number 3, you can renegotiate the offer after you make it. Do you know it's much, much, much easier to renegotiate than it is to negotiate? Especially when everybody that calls you back is saying they might want to sell, i.e. they want to negotiate. Option number 4, you can sell the contract itself to somebody else that has money. Notice only one of those 4 options required you to come up with any money to buy a house. Just make offers. Give yourself options. The people that figure out what I just said sooner rather than later get there sooner rather than later. Make offers all the time to everybody. It really doesn't matter. There's no risk in making thousands of offers. There's huge rewards. If you could buy lottery tickets for free, even if they only have 1,000 to 1 chance of paying off, if they're free, how many lottery tickets should you buy? All of them. Yeah, all of them. So, business cards, FSBO, for sale by owner. Why would somebody try to sell their own house? Maybe they're lazy, maybe they're crazy, maybe they need solutions realtors don't offer. Well, why are there so many different marketing methods? Well, would you rather fish with a hook or would you rather fish with a net? The answer is you need to fish with a net. And the reason is because this business is a numbers game, and now I'm going to teach you the numbers. I'm going to teach you something right now that it took me 2 years of hard work in the trenches to figure out. So I'm going to shave 2 years of your learning curve right now. By 2005, I had been a real estate investor for 2 years. And I calculated in my first 2 years as a real estate investor, I generated about 400 leads. A lead is just the name and number of somebody that might want to sell real estate. So I looked at about 400 different houses in my first 2 years. Every couple of days I was looking at a house. And then I did the math. And here's what I discovered. When I did paid marketing, on average for every $100 I spent on things like direct mail, paid marketing, I got 1 qualified motivated seller lead. When I did free marketing, things like personal marketing, like driving for dollars, for every 3 hours I spent just driving around, I got at least 1 qualified motivated seller lead. Then I discovered that on average for every 20 leads I got, I made at least $20,000 net profit on a deal. So let me do the math for you. That means every time I drove around for 60 hours, I made at least $20,000 net profit on a deal. That means every time I sent out $2,000 in direct mail, I got at least $20,000 net profit on a deal. Spend $2,000, make 20. Spend $2,000, make 20. Spend $4,000, make 40. Spend $8,000, make 80. Spend $16,000, make 160. Spend $32,000. You don't have to spend it all at once, by the way. Make $320,000 net profit. Are you starting to like the numbers? It took me 2 years. 2 years of hard work in the trenches to figure that out. But what I realized after 2 years in the trenches is, holy cow, this whole business is just a numbers game, and now I know the numbers. And when I realized this, what I realized when I figured out what I just taught you, I started to think about this business in a completely different way. You see, I now think about this entire business, my business, like the whole thing is just like a little black box. And the way that little black box works, every time I stick $100 worth of marketing in one end, eventually $1,000 worth of net profit pops out the other end. So if you had a little black box, every time you shoved a $100 bill in one end, a $1,000 bill popped out the other end, how many dollars would you stick in the box? All of them, yeah. I started spending money on marketing like a drunken sailor because I knew. And then I started spending thousands of dollars a month on marketing. And then I started spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on marketing. And then I hired 2 full-time 6-figure guys that work for me for this day, to this day, who spend 100% of their time spending my money on marketing. One just runs ads, the other one does analytics, figures out what's working, what's not, doubles down on the ones that are working. And now, these years later, sometimes I spend as much as $100,000 a month on marketing. Because once you know it's a numbers game, and once you know the numbers, you dial it in and then you dial it up. That's it. You dial it in and then you dial it up. Sometime later, I actually wrote a book on investing in Texas real estate. I don't actually offer the book anymore. I found books are not really that useful for real estate investing, to be honest with you. No matter how good the book is, they're really not all that helpful. If reading books turn people into millionaires, you know, the library should be filled with millionaires, but they're not. And I think the reason that books are not particularly helpful when it comes to real estate is mostly because real estate's not actually that complicated. Okay, I went to engineering school. That was complicated. I had to take calculus, calculus 2, calculus 3. By the time I took calculus 3, I had to remember calculus 1 and 2. It was really complicated. I've never had to solve a differential equation to flip a house. It's not that complicated. But unlike engineering and calculus, it's a mile deep, real estate's a mile wide, right? Real estate is more like learning a language than learning a skill. But you can't learn a language from reading a book, can you? Yeah, go read 100 books on how to speak Spanish, you'll learn how to count to 10. There's only one way to learn a language. How do you learn a language? Yeah, exactly, immersion. You want to learn Spanish, go to Spain. You want to eat or go to the bathroom, you're going to learn some Spanish. And real estate's exactly the same way. It was not until we joined the REIA and started actually spending time with people. You got to spend time with people that actually do this. You got to hear things 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 times before you pick it up. It's not complicated. Nothing about it's complicated. There's just a million little details, right? And so you got to get exposed to enough details before it actually works. So we're going to get into the final part of this presentation. We're going to show you the strategies, which are maybe the coolest part of the presentation. But before we get into the strategies, I do want to kind of repeat something I said earlier. I said earlier, my job is to make you educated and contributing members of this community. And we really, really want you to be both educated and participating. We have a vast network, 150,000 people, 257 vendors, right? All these people doing real estate stuff. But we want you to be actively doing stuff, right? And we do these meetings all over Texas. And every time we do these meetings, we always have new people come to the meetings. And we call the new people tourists, right? Hey, honey, let's go check out the REIA. There's nothing wrong with that. But we figured out a long time ago that nobody actually makes any money being a tourist. We need people to be active, buying, selling, partnering, lending, borrowing, investing, right? That's where the money gets made. But I also figured out a long time ago that unfortunately I can't turn somebody into a real estate investor in 45 minutes. If I could only figure out how to sprinkle pixie dust on somebody's head and turn them into real estate investors in 45 minutes, yeah, that would be awesome. I don't know how to do that. But I can, and I have, turned people into real estate investors over a period of 24 hours. Or maybe it would be more accurate to say 24 hours spread out over 3 days, giving us the time to get through all the nitty-gritty details of how this business actually works. And this is why the Texas REIAs and Flipping.com sponsors the Texas Real Estate Investing Workshop. And again, this is Texans teaching Texans how to invest in Texas. I teach this myself. I don't outsource it or anything like that. It's 3 days getting into practical, actionable, detailed, step-by-step training. You're going to learn all the strategies. There are things you can do in Texas you can't do anywhere else. There's things you can do everywhere, but you're not allowed to do in Texas. And we're going to talk about those things. We're going to talk about the 65 ways to find off-market deals, how to use the closes, how to partner, how to access private money. Thousands of the most successful investors in Texas got started at this workshop, The Real Deal, Texans Teaching Texans How to Invest in Texas. Some of the things we're going to cover at the workshop, and we're doing it live and in person and online, is we're going to cover like how to buy the best rental properties. We have data nobody else has, heat maps, where we can drill down to the street level across all the cities in Texas and show you exactly which streets to buy and hold on and which streets you would never want to own rental properties on. And nobody else has that data and done that analysis. How to get off-market deals from outsourcing. We outsource everything because I really don't have time to do all the work myself. How to get paid offering to remodel houses for free. This is my favorite offer. I will remodel anybody's house for free. I make a fortune doing it. It's an irresistible offer. They can't turn down that offer. How about how to get 3% mortgages in today's market? You know, everybody's complaining interest rates, they've gotten higher, interest rates have gotten higher. Well, there's a new loan product, okay? It's 3% interest. And here's the other nice thing about it. Zero money down, no credit check. In fact, no loan application, 100% guaranteed. So all you have to do is ask, 100% guaranteed, 3% interest, no money down, no credit check, no documentation required. Who would like that loan? Who would like that loan? Okay, who's feeling a little skeptical right now? Who's feeling a little skeptical? Yeah, it sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? How about you? Do you believe me? You do believe me. Okay, well, that's pretty good. I'm doing all right with you. Okay, well, anyway, you know, if you're feeling skeptical, you should feel skeptical. This sounds pretty outrageous, right? 3%, no money down. Give me a break. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to make you wait till the workshop. I'm going to show you that trick in just a couple of minutes. So hold on to your horses for that one. How about how to use AI? This is what I do. I don't have time to call 10,000 people, but I got an AI bot that does. And that's very efficient, by the way. How to use VAs. I have 14 virtual assistants that work in the Philippines. They have college educations. They speak great English. They're hardworking. I love them. They love me. And because of the exchange rates, I can pay them what is to them a fortune, what's here very, very affordable. So a great way to build your business. So that's a little taste of some of the stuff we're going to be talking about at the workshop. And again, these are the dates and locations. We're doing the same workshop, once in Austin, once in Dallas, once in Houston. It is free because it's being paid for, thank you very much, by the 257 vendors that support this vast network. So do support the vendors because they have paid your tuition for this event. So just pick the date that works best for you. Come in person or you can come online. If none of the dates work, for example, if you have a conflict, such as your daughter is getting married, here's what I suggest. I suggest you cancel the wedding because the most important thing that's going to change your life in a good way is going to be coming to this workshop. Now, we'll hand out a form in just a minute and we'll also post this online, but I do want to give you guys one other thing that we do here. This is the Texas REIAs. I mentioned this before. You can also join the REIA if you'd like to be a member of this REIA. Who would like to have 20,000 buyers to have access to? Who would like to have access to 20,000 buyers? Who would like to have 1,000 private money lenders? Private money is cheaper, faster, better than hard money or any other kind of money. Do you want 1,000 private money lenders? Do you already have 1,000 private money lenders? You need 1,000 private money lenders. Okay, so yes. If you'd like to have access to the Texas REIAs is the only organization in Texas that does active legislative action to protect your rights as a real estate investor. And as a member of the REIA, not only do you get all of these wonderful benefits, but you get to, when you come to our training workshops, you get to come as a VIP, which means you get preferred seating, VIP lunches and lunch sessions, you get a special training program, you get to be on the online group where we meet every minute of every day online, Texas Money Resource Guide, training program, etc. So wonderful resources are available. It's $250. It's a one-year membership, but drum roll please, we got a special Q1 offer where it is only $100. So $100 makes you a member of the REIA. Yes, that is for two, so your significant other comes along with you, and you get all these great benefits. You will not be automatically recharged at the end of the year. If you want to, you can re-up next year. If you don't want, you don't have to, but you have to manually go do that. And that is the REIA. So here's what we're going to do. Oh, there's also a really cool poster. I'll mention this later. There's a big poster, the 273 things you need to know to be a real estate investor, all the different investing strategies, marketing campaigns, sales and negotiation, power teams, corporate structures, finance, operations, analysis. This is what happens when an engineer becomes a real estate investor. So I build things. And come to the workshop, we'll teach you all this works. But if you join the REIA, you get a big poster you can hang on your wall that'll just kind of tell you all the things you need to know. So we're going to hand out a little form. And on the form, here's how it works. Normally $1,000. Today it is free. So it's got 3 dates. One for Austin, one for Dallas, one for Houston. The workshop is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The date on the form is day 1, Friday. Okay, but it's a 3-day workshop. Just circle the one that you would like to come to. Tell us if you're coming in person or online. Notice it's free, free. If you'd like to join the REIA, check that box. You get all these benefits. Notice if you join the REIA, it's $100. So the total is either free or $100. If you join the REIA, it's $100. give us a little more information about yourself. We'll connect you up with some wonderful resources. And that is it. And like I said, right now, if you register today, it is free. If you register on the website, you're welcome to do that. It is $1,000. If you guys register with the link we just posted online, right now, it is free. Or you can register on the workshop on the website, which is $1,000. Even $1,000 is a good deal. So we're going to hand out this form, and then we're going to get back to the training. So if you guys can hand out the forms, and then we'll collect the forms back at the end of the meeting when we get back to the training. So please fill it out now. Actually, we're going to collect it back in a few minutes. So just go ahead and fill out the form, and we'll collect the forms back momentarily. If you need a pen, just raise your hand, and we'll get you a pen as well. Okay. So with that, and if you want to join the REIA, they'll come around and ask you if you want to join the REIA. But the other way you can join the REIA is you can just click on one of these QR codes, Zelle, Venmo, or Cash App. If you click on that code, it'll say, do you want to pay $100 to join the REIA? If you click on the thing, then just hold your phone up when they collect your form back, and you'll be registered as a VIP. You'll get the poster, you'll get the VIP tickets and everything else. But just click on only click on one, click on whichever one. And remember, this is for 2 people. So if you're here with somebody else, you don't need to do it twice, you just need to do it once. But that'll get you your REIA membership, and will enroll you as a VIP. All right. You got it? All right. So let's get back to work. What's that? Quick question, go ahead. Yeah.
Do you guys hold monthly meetings?
We have meetings every day, every minute online. Most of the meetings are all online. So yeah, and we have a big community and we do everything online. Just ever since COVID, we do it all online. Okay, so let's get back to the skills, and let's get back to the second one and the final one, which is strategy. So let's talk about strategy. So what's the best strategy? Well, there's a lot of different real estate investing strategies. And people ask me, well, where should I get started? What's the best one? You can do short sales, buy and hold. You can do mortgage assignments. You can do auction options. You can do referrals. You can do wholesaling. You can do contracts for deeds. You can do lease options. You can do house swapping, wraparound mortgages. You can do equity partnering. And of course, you can do fix and flip. And you can certainly spend a lot of time and money on all that training and education. My wife and I have spent over $100,000 on training, coaching, seminars. Most of it was great. Some of it was not great. It all sounded great. But I don't feel bad about spending over $100,000 on our education, because we've actually made many millions of dollars from our education. But I do have a little pet peeve on how most people get started and how most people teach people to get started. Because when you look at all of these different investing strategies, here's the good news. They all work. All of these strategies can make you money investing in real estate. That's the good news. The bad news is that they each only work in unique situations. Each of these strategies is the solution to a particular problem or situation. But remember what I said earlier, your job one is, of course, finding the deal. So here's a brand new investor hunting for his first deal. And he does some marketing and he generates a lead. Well, if he got the right training, he would have learned how to help that seller solve that problem using a strategy called a wraparound mortgage. But that's not the training he got. This guy just went to one of those wholesale seminars, and all he learned how to do is wholesaling. So he's looking for a wholesale deal. He didn't find one. He found a wrap deal. He doesn't know how to do that. So he can't help the seller, and he can't make money on the lead. So what's he going to do now? He's going to do some more marketing and generate another lead. Well, now if he only knew how to do a mortgage assignment, he could solve a problem and get a check. But he doesn't know how to do that because, remember, all he knows how to do is wholesaling, and he's still looking for a wholesale deal. So he does some more marketing and generates yet another lead. And now if he only knew how to do an auction option, he could solve a big problem, get himself a big check. But again, he doesn't know how to do that because all he knows how to do is wholesaling, and he's still looking for a wholesale deal. Are you starting to see a problem? This is a big problem. There's 30,000 books and YouTube videos that teach people how to invest in real estate. And they all talk about it, how to do it anywhere. Well, how to do it anywhere is how to do it at 30,000 feet. Real estate is not bought and sold at 30,000 feet. In other words, most of the training out there says you need to get started by learning one strategy and this is the best one. No, this is the best one. No, this is the best one. Well, whatever, you need to learn a strategy, do that strategy and make money on that strategy. And after you learn how to make money on that strategy, later on you can learn some other strategy. And it feels pretty good, it sounds pretty good, but forgive my language when I say this, that is a completely ass-backwards way to go about this. Saying that you need to get started by learning one strategy and make money on one strategy before you learn the other strategy, that's kind of like saying you need to go to Las Vegas and learn how to bet on one number on the roulette wheel. And after you make enough money betting over and over and over again on that one number on the roulette wheel, later on you can learn how the other numbers work. Well, that's ridiculous. Yet that's how 95% of real estate investors get started investing in real estate. It's no surprise that 95% of real estate investors give up before they ever get going. So I'm going to show you what the top 5% of investors do. And then I'm going to tell you, play to be in the top 5% or don't bother. So this is what the top 5% of investors do. And this is how I'm going to teach you how to do it at the workshop. I bet on all of the numbers on the wheel, and then I spin the wheel a lot. And what do I mean by I bet on all the numbers on the wheel? Why not use all 12 strategies? Why not learn all 12 ways to fill out a contract? Spend time and money, called marketing, getting somebody with a problem to call you. If there's a way to help them and solve the problem and get paid, you need to help them and solve the problem and get paid. And once you know all 12 strategies, we have a solution for every problem there is, every lead that there is. Motivated sellers, non-motivated sellers, free and clear, hopelessly underwater. And then what do you want to do? You want to spin the wheel a lot. And what does that mean? Look at a lot of deals, take a lot of shots on goal. This is what the top 5% of investors do. Play to be in the top 5% or don't bother. So how do you do that? You got to know a lot of marketing and you got to know all the strategies. So let's talk about the strategies. Oh, actually, first let me tell you one more quick story that really illustrates that last point. This was my first big deal, my very first big deal. After I was a real estate investor, for just over 2 years, I flipped this house. And I actually made $291,000 flipping this house. Pretty good deal. But the more interesting part of the story is I was actually the 8th investor at bat. So what does that mean? 7 other real estate investors looked at this deal before me and passed on the deal. How is that possible? How could 7 different real estate investors pass on a deal, an opportunity to make almost $300,000 on a deal? How's that even possible that they could pass on the deal? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's not just possible, it's actually typical. Let me tell you the rest of the story. First investor looks at this house, said, I'd love to buy your house, but you're underwater. You owe more than the house is worth. You can't even afford to sell me the house. Second investor looks at this house, says, well, I'd love to buy your house, but you're in bankruptcy. I can't buy a house from somebody in bankruptcy. Third investor looks at this house and says, well, I can help you avoid a foreclosure by doing something called a short sale, but I can't do that while you're in bankruptcy. Plus you have a mid-construction project. I don't do mid-construction. I looked at this house and I said, my, oh my, oh my, you have a lot of big problems here. Big problem means what? Big opportunity. It took 1, 2, 3 different strategies to solve this guy's problem. That's the point. I solved the problem, I got the check. My competition was a bunch of one-trick ponies. Most of my competitors are a bunch of one-trick ponies. 30,000 YouTube videos teach people how to be one-trick ponies. One-trick ponies are annoying, they get in the way at times, but they don't last long. Guys, if you think you're gonna find pretty houses at big discounts just waiting for you, hanging off of trees, you're smoking crack, okay? This is what opportunity looks like. A big bundle of problems with a nice, pretty bow around it. I want a house where half the house burned down. I want a house that had a meth lab that exploded in the garage. I want a house that flooded. I want a house with mold. I want a house where someone was murdered in the living room. Oh yeah, you can make a killing on a murder house. I own one. How do you make a killing on a murder house? Stigma. Murder's not common, stigma is common. So I'll give you an example. What do you think it costs to buy a murder house? Anybody want to guess? Anybody want to live in a murder house? No. We're all shaking our heads, no. I'll tell you what it costs to buy a murder house, 20 cents on the dollar. And do you know what everybody says when they go by that house? They point at that house and they're like, that's a murder house. And a year later when they're going by that house, you know what they do? They point at that house again. They say, man, something bad happened in that house. And a couple years later, they go by that house and they kind of look around. They're like, somewhere around here something happened. About 5 years later, what do they say when they see the house? Nice house. How much? Stigmas go away. Somebody gets shot in a bar, it's a crime scene. A few years later, it's a tourist attraction. They bought a house in South Congress for $180. Now it's worth $580. What did I do with the house? Nothing. Just rented it out. Gave a guy that didn't mind living in a murder house a pretty good deal, right? Until the stigma just went away. But the point is that problems are opportunities, and big problems are big opportunities, and that's what we're looking for. And you got to have that attitude. I don't touch the houses. I have people that do that, but I mean, problems are opportunities. So I'll tell you another story. One of my students recently bought one of those $150,000 Teslas. Calls it his air car, H-E-I-R, air car. Somebody died without a will, but they did have 42 heirs. And everybody said, no way, man, there's no way you're going to get 42 people to agree on something, big problem. Well, he rolled up his sleeves and it took a little effort, but eventually got 42 people to agree that a little bit of something is a whole lot better than a whole lot of nothing. And now he's driving around in a $150,000 air car that he paid cash for. Problems are opportunities. You know, 2 out of 3 people don't have a will. Light bulb. Big problems are big opportunities. So we use the marketing to find the problems, and then we use the strategies to solve the problems. So I got time to teach you 2 strategies. First strategy I'm going to teach you is the easiest one to teach, wholesaling. I might as well teach you right now. How does this work? Just find a property and get it under contract. How much does it cost to get a property under contract? Anybody know? Nothing. Can we all afford that? I think so. But then instead of buying the property, we're going to sell the contract to another investor for a fee. How much is the fee? $500 to $5,000 for a small deal, $10,000 to $25,000 on an average deal, $25,000 or more on a big deal. And this, my friends, is a no money and no risk strategy. I've discovered it's really hard to lose money when you're not actually spending or investing any money. Let me give you an example. When you come to the workshop, I'm going to teach you the theory. I just taught you the theory, but then I'm going to always give you the example, the story. Because we learn from example, not from theory. So this is Kimberly. She came to the workshop. And she did her first deal. And she told me about it after it went down. Her mom was visiting her from out of town. And her mom's like, Kim, where are we going? Oh, well, Mom, we're going to get a house under contract. What? Kim, are you crazy? What are you talking about? You just graduated from college. You don't have any money. You don't have any credit. You don't even have a job. What do you mean you're getting a house under contract? Don't worry, Mom. I know what I'm doing. So Kim's mom watched Kim walk into that house and offer the seller $265,000 cash for his house. All right, and he signed a contract. Now, obviously, they talked on the phone ahead of time. Obviously, he was a motivated seller. Kim then posted that contract out to this network. Do you know we meet every minute of every day? You know, over the last decade, the members of this community, over the last decade, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times, the members of this decade post their deals, their questions, their offers, their resources back and forth over that network. So Kim just posted this deal out over the network, and guess what? Several other members of the network wanted to buy that property, that contract from Kim. So Kim just sold her contract to another member of the REIA for $17,000. One of the other members offered her $17,000 for the contract. So Kim just sold the contract for $17,000. Now, what would Kim have done with that contract had nobody wanted to buy her contract? What would she done with it? Ripped it up, but she didn't need to, did she? So who bought the contract? Another investor by the name of Tatiana. I know her pretty well. Tatiana paid Kim $17,000 for the contract. It then became Tatiana's contract. Tatiana then bought the property for $265,000 cash. She had the cash. She kept it for 6 months as a month-to-month rental. Right after the tenants moved out, she did a renovation, a small addition, and then she sold it after owning it for 12 months. And when she sold it, she made almost $100,000 in net profit. That she only paid long-term capital gains taxes, no income taxes. Do you think Tatiana was pretty happy that Kim found that deal for her? What do you think? Yeah, pretty happy.
Hey guys, we are about to start, we already started collecting all the forms, so if you have not filled out, please go ahead and start it, get it done right now, because we're collecting it right now.
All right.
If you are VIP, we're doing that as well, or even non-VIP, we're collecting them as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So Kim just sold her contract to another member of the REIA, and Tatiana bought it, right? Crossed Kim's name out on the contract, wrote her own name or her company's name. She bought it, right? And then when she sold it, she made almost $100,000. So now Kim is a believer. Well, actually, Kim was a believer. Now Kim's mom is a believer. So again, what would Kim have done with the contract if nobody wanted to buy the contract? What would she have done with the contract? Terminate. No harm, no foul, no risk, no penalty. So let me ask you guys a question. Just curious what we got here. By a show of hands, how many of you are cash buyers? Raise your hand if you're a cash buyer. Okay, let me ask a different question. How much cash do you have to be a cash buyer? How much cash do you have to make a cash offer? 0. Well, then how much cash do you have to be a cash buyer? 0. You don't have to have any cash to make a cash offer. You don't have to have any cash to be a cash buyer. You just need to know people with cash. So let me ask you guys another question. Does anybody here know somebody that you could call if you got a smoking hot deal to buy a property for a big discount for cash? For example, who could you call? Anybody know? Yeah, what do you think I'm doing up here? You know, and in fairness, right, there's 20,000 guys just like me out on that website that would be pleased as punch if you guys got out there and got some properties under contract. You don't want it for yourself, pitch it back to the group. That's why we want you. That's why we need you. That's why we'll even train you on how to be educated and contributing members of this community. But I can tell I have my work cut out for me. So I'm going to try this again. Let me try this again. By a show of hands, how many of you are cash buyers? Okay, nice. I love talking to a room full of cash buyers. And the REIA instantly puts people with cash in connection with people with money, instantly puts people with money in connection with people with cash. All right, one more strategy and we'll wrap things up. And this one's a little more complicated, a little more interesting. Buy property subject to the mortgage. I'm a nationally recognized expert at teaching this strategy. This is buying real estate with no money and with no credit. What does this mean? How does this work? How does real estate work? When somebody buys real estate, how does that work? They go to a title company, they sign a stack of documents. Most of the documents at a closing are disclaimers and disclosures, but there's 2 documents that get signed at the closing that make the closing happen. The 2 documents that actually actively make something happen are the deed and the note. The deed and the note. Notice those are 2 separate documents, a deed and a note. Whosever name goes on the deed, that's who owns the property. Whosever name goes on the note, that's who's responsible for the mortgage. So there's a deed and a note, a deed and a note. Normally it's the same guy that's on both. The guy buys a house, his name is on the deed, his name is on the note, he owns a house, and he's responsible for the mortgage. That's normal. He moves into the house, it's his house. And all the rights and privileges and responsibilities and the benefits of home ownership, they're him. They go to him. It's his house. At the end of the month, he gets a statement from the bank, says you owe us $2,000 for your mortgage. He gives the bank a check for $2,000, bank's happy, he's happy, everybody's happy, that's how it works. And then the guy goes on to get married, and well, you know, Texas is a community property state. So when the guy gets married, the wife is added to the deed. Now there's 2 names on the deed, his and hers, his and hers. But his name is still the only name on the note. Just because somebody's taken on or off the deed, that does not affect the note. And then time goes on and things don't work out and they get a divorce. And in their situation, the wife gets the house in the divorce. So now something kind of interesting has happened. Now her name is the only name left on the deed, but his name is still the only name on the note. So the question is, as long as he keeps sending the bank a check every month, or she starts sending the bank a check every month, or a tenant or a property manager, a neighbor, investor, friend, or family member, or somebody sends the bank a check every month, the question is, does the bank actually care who wrote the check? What do you think? No. There's some dude sitting at the bank and opening envelopes. He's like, oh, we got a check. It's for the right amount. It cleared. We're good. So if you're listening to my story so far, I just told you all a story about a woman, about a spouse, about a person that was able to acquire real estate, even with no money and with no credit. So there it is, an example of somebody that acquired real estate with no money and no credit. See, I told you I was going to tell you how to do that. All right, so here's the really, really good part. You can all do exactly the same thing, and you don't have to get married to do it. Because here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. In Texas, anybody, any of you, anybody can go up to any homeowner that has any loan, any mortgage from any lender on any house at any time, and you can make them an offer. And the offer any of you can make with any homeowner that has any loan, any mortgage from any lender on any house at any time is this. Here's the offer. I will make the payment on your mortgage for you going forward. Hey, Noah, you know, you give them the receipt. You guys are giving them the receipt. You give them the yellow part, you take the white part. So, yeah. So I just want to make sure we're collecting them correctly so they keep the receipt. Okay. So, yeah, you can go to any homeowner that has any loan from any lender on any house at any time. Okay. And you can make anybody an offer, right, that has any loan from any lender on any house at any time. And the offer you can make them is, I will make the payment on your mortgage for you going forward, or I will find somebody to make the payment on your mortgage for you going forward. What's the catch? The catch is you have to hand the deed, which is ownership of the property, to me. And you can do this with any homeowner that has any loan, any mortgage from any lender on any house at any time. And the only person on the planet that has to agree to this transaction is the person whose name is on the deed, not the bank. The bank has absolutely no say in this transaction. There are federal laws that regulate this. Anybody can transfer their deed to anybody. Anybody can pay somebody else's mortgage if they want to. So if you're listening to me closely, here's what you just heard me say. You can buy any house in Texas from any homeowner in Texas that has any loan from any lender, and you can buy and own that person's house even with no money and even with no credit, by simply offering to take over the payment on their mortgage, or even offering to find somebody to take over the payment on their mortgage in exchange for them simply transferring the deed, which is ownership of the property, to you. And once you learn how to buy real estate with no money and with no credit, then how many houses can you buy? All of them. So it's simply agreeing to pay a seller's mortgage in exchange for the deed. Now, once they transfer their deed to you, you own it. You can do whatever you want. You can renovate it and retail sell it to somebody else. You can wrap it, you can assign it, you can keep it as rental property. You can keep it as your own homestead if you'd like. I've helped many of my friends here in Texas buy their very own homestead with this little or no money, no credit needed strategy. Okay? How much money can you make? Well, you're going to see there's a lot of ways that you can make a lot of money when you're buying houses with no money, no credit. Small flip, at least 10 or 15,000, typically a lot more. And this is another little or no money, little or no risk strategy. Let me show you an example of a deal. This is one of the $30 million worth of houses that I own here in Texas. Now, if I wanted to buy $30 million worth of houses traditionally, let's think about that. I'd have to put down 20% every time I bought a house. In other words, I'd have to be a multi-millionaire just to become a millionaire. Well, I wasn't a millionaire when I started investing in real estate here in Texas. So how was I able to accumulate $30 million worth of houses? Well, most of them, including this one, were acquired using exactly this strategy, subject to. So let me tell you about this one. A woman owned this house worth $150,000. She owed $110,000 on the mortgage. This house has $40,000 of equity. She had the house rented out for $1,600 a month rent. The mortgage payment, including tax and insurance, is $1,100 a month. So this house is generating $500 a month of gross cash flow. Shoulda, coulda, and it would have been a perfect rental property except for one major problem. This woman had lost her job. She was continuing to collect the rent because she was living off the rent, but she stopped paying the mortgage. 4 days before the first Tuesday of the month, when the bank was going to foreclose on her, I knocked on her door. Can I help you? I am here to help you. Well, what can you do? There's no time. They're going to foreclose on me. How can you help? They're going to foreclose on me. There's no time. What can you do? Here's what I can do. I can stop the foreclosure. I can reinstate your loan. I can catch up your mortgage payments. I can make your mortgage payments for you going forward. I can even repair all of your credit. Well, that's amazing, right? That's amazing, right? And she said, deal. What's the catch? All you have to do is hand the deed to me. And she said, deal. Why did she say deal? Because in 4 days she's losing the house. That's a done deal. But she wasn't just going to lose the house. In addition to losing the house, what was she also going to get along with that? Anybody know? A foreclosure. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I told her. You don't want a foreclosure. You may think a foreclosure is the end of your problem. It's not. It's the beginning of a 10-year nightmare that starts with the sheriff and his deputies dragging you and your family and all of your possessions to the curb in front of your friends and neighbors. It's 10 years of dealing with the IRS potentially garnishing your wages to collect on a 1099 that could be issued against you for up to the full value of your loan. It's 10 years of dealing with a lender potentially filing a lawsuit against you for up to the full value of the home. It's 10 years of dealing with creditors calling you, hounding you day and night to collect on the judgment from the lawsuit. It's 10 years of not being able to buy another home, buy a car, get a credit card, open certain bank accounts, or even rent certain apartments, or even get certain jobs. In other words, it's a bullet to the head. And nobody wants all that. And I stopped all that from happening to her, and she was thrilled. She even said thank you. And the bank was thrilled because they didn't want the house back, they just wanted their money, so I gave them their money. And the tenants were thrilled. They didn't want to get kicked out of the house. They just wanted to keep renting the house, so I let them keep renting it for me. But mostly I was thrilled because for $4,500, which is what it cost me to reinstate that loan, I now own this beautiful $150,000 house. It came with a loan, came with $40,000 of equity, all mine. Came with tenants paying me $1,600 a month rent. After I paid the bank $1,100, I put $500 in the pocket. And if you think that's cool, my wife and I own $30 million worth of these houses. Some of them took small amounts of money like this. Most of them honestly took more money than this, but then some of them took absolutely no money at all. So the question is, how many of you would like me to walk you step by step by step through how to do this deal? Okay, we're all out of time. I'm sorry, we're almost out of time, so let me finish up. I will finish this. I do love this, but I'll bet you don't know why I love this so much. Some of you are like, oh, you're making $500 a month. Yeah, that's not it. $500 is not going to affect my life or my lifestyle. What I love about this is by doing this over and over and over again, over the last 21 years, my wife and I were able to accumulate a portfolio that's now worth $30 million. In fact, just over the last 3 years, that portfolio went up in value by more than 30%. In other words, just over the last 3 years, my wife and I became more than $10 million richer from having done this thing over and over again. This thing that required little or no money and no credit. That's what I love about this. This is the strategy that allows anybody, regardless of money or credit, to become multi-millionaires. That's what I love about this. When I realized the wealth potential of this particular strategy, I actually made one additional tweak to the strategy. See, I no longer buy these houses in my name. In fact, I no longer buy these houses in my company's name. Now when I buy these houses, I prefer to buy them in my IRA. How many of you are aware that you could do this transaction with your IRA? Okay, well, for the rest of you, you know you can do this transaction with your IRA. One of the 257 sponsors of this network, Directed Trust IRA, come to the workshop and they'll set it up so you can do this with your IRA. It's a really smart thing to do, by the way. So what happens when my IRA does this transaction? My IRA transfers the $4,500 to the bank and the deed transfers to the IRA. Every month, the property manager deposits $1,600 of rent into the IRA. Every month, the IRA automatically pays a mortgage of $1,100 and $500 goes back into the IRA. But that's not the good part. What's the good part? Over the next 25 years, this property will double in value. And it'll double again. And even at very conservative appreciation rates, it'll almost double a third time. Something interesting happens to the loan on this property over the next 25 years. What happens to the loan? Gets paid out by the tenants. Thank you very much, tenants. In other words, every time my IRA does this deal, my IRA ultimately ends up owning an asset worth about $1 million that by then I own free and clear. And because my IRA is also a Roth IRA, when I sell this asset in retirement, 100% of the proceeds are tax-free. Did you all just see what I did? I just showed you how to turn a $4,500 IRA into $1 million tax-free doing one deal, one time. Helping a woman out of a horrible situation. Helping a bank not take a property back they didn't want back. Helping a tenant stay in a property they wanted to stay in. All that just doing it once. The average retired person at the age of retirement, 65, has a net worth of $62,000. If you just did this one deal one time, be 25 times richer than the average retired person just doing it once. But I'm going to tell you, I've never seen somebody do this deal once. 95% of the investors out there, or 95% of the people out there, will never do this deal. And 100% of the people that do it once, then what do? And they do it again, and then what do? And they do it again, and then 21 years later, they're standing in front of a podium talking about all the times they did it. So one last time, how many of you would like me to walk you step by step through how to do this deal? All right, I'm going to walk you step by step through how to find this property, how to get it under contract, right? Which contract to use, which attorney and title company to close it at, how to use the close, how to go through all the operational steps to do this. So I'm going to walk you step by step through how to do all that. However, it's going to take about 3 days. So we're going to have to finish at the workshop. There we go. And that was just one of the 12 strategies. Pretty cool, you got to admit. Not even my favorite one. My favorite one is remodeling houses for free. And then there's 10 more after that. 65 marketing methods, closes. I just taught you your first close. That was literally called the atomic bomb close. Remember I said the magic words? Those were the magic words, the atomic bomb. Now think about that. Remember I showed you the marketing list before? I literally got that list. I called the people on that list and I read them that script. And she said, yes, thank you, here's my deed. I mean, that's how it works. Now, they obviously don't all say yes. About 1 in 20 say yes, right? It's literally a numbers game. Call the number, read the script, right? Get the deed. Call the number, read the script. And it's a numbers game. And you rinse and repeat. And you do it more, you get better at it. But that's an example of one of the closes. Learn how to partner with experts, how to access to 1,000 private money lenders, right? Thousands of the most experienced investors in Texas got started at this workshop. Texans teaching Texans how to invest in Texas. World-class training, and it's absolutely free. So we're doing the workshop in Austin, Dallas, and Houston. If you're a member of the REIA, it's $100 to join the REIA. You're a VIP at the workshop. Please join the REIA. You'd be crazy not to. These are the dates. And just out of curiosity, let's do a quick poll of the audience. How many of you are planning to attend the workshop live? Who's coming to the workshop live? Who's going to be coming online? Who's going to be coming online? Okay, so you're not coming at all, or you're coming live or online? Oh, you're coming online. So you're not, why aren't you coming live?
Sorry?
You're not going to come live?
I won't be here. I'm traveling overseas.
You're going to be traveling overseas? Okay, you get an excuse. Okay, I'm going to let you attend overseas. So yeah, I recommend live. We will have tables. We're not going to be packed in, so you'll have plenty of room to do it. So for you guys online, fill out the form right now. If you do it today, it's free. If you do it on the website, it's $1,000. Same thing here in the room. If you register now, it's free, or you can do online, and it's $1,000. If you join the REIA, it's $100 to join the REIA. You get to be a VIP at the workshop with all the other benefits of REIA membership, and the really cool poster to go along with it as well. So we do need to wrap up this conversation. You can use that outside. A couple of other quick housekeeping notes. People say, can I get copies of your presentation? We do post them on our social media. Look for Texas REIAs. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on a YouTube channel. Some details of the workshop. The workshop is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 24 hours over 3 days. I teach the workshop myself. We go late Friday, late Saturday, early Sunday. I'm going to start talking at 8:45 a.m. Get there early, get a good seat. Bring a notebook. You're going to fill the entire notebook with notes. We're going to go late Friday, late Saturday. How late? I don't know. Maybe 7:30, kind of depends on you and the questions. And then we'll end early on Sunday. Some other quick questions: how much experience? For our residential workshop, 75% of the people are newbies, 25% are experienced. Can I bring my significant other? Highly suggest you do. Drag them by force. You're going to regret if you don't. It is 2 for 1 if you join the REIA. How do I know this is the real deal? Don't ask me. Look online, and if you go to that link, you'll see thousands of reviews, handwritten reviews. Every time we get a review, and we have thousands and thousands of them, we scan them, we post them on the internet. Why would we post thousands of reviews on the internet? Go look for yourself, because I'll tell you what you'll see, 99 out of 100 say the same thing. Oh my God, this was literally a life-changing experience. Where do I get my tickets? Fill out your form, turn it in before you leave, and you get your tickets before you leave. And if you'd like to get even more support, join the REIA, and then you can interact with me and all the other members.